Okay, I've got a starter to rebuild for a tractor. It's a Massey Ferguson actually, and the solenoid I do believe is bad because the key, when you hit the starter, it does pull the plunger in on the solenoid, but nothing happens. You can hit it finally after 20 tries, you get power through here. So there's probably a copper ring inside here, and the heads of these studs are what makes contact when this pulls in and gives power directly to the starter. So I'm going to open this up, and most of them have a bolt through. Of course, this one doesn't. So I'm going to have to get in here and pry open this solenoid so that I can get inside there. And when I'm done, I'm going to have to peen the crimp back over and then make sure that it's nice and tight. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get in here and work this with a screwdriver and pry out the crimp. I'll get back to you when I'm done. Okay, I'll show you a little bit what I'm talking about. Just get it in there and keep pulling it open. Try not to do any real damage to the metal, but it's going to scuff it up. Okay, that's just part of the game. But you got to walk it around nice and slow. You don't want to break this Bakelite. So just take your time, work your way around nice and slow, and get this whole thing. There's 3 crimps on here. So there's not a lot of force on it, just a small spring. So no big deal. You can handle it. Well, I got 2 done. One here, one here. It's never going to look like factory again, but that's not what this is about. This is about survival here. Trying to get something done in the middle of a job, or in the middle of winter, or when you can't afford to get a new starter because they cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars. This is what you do. I got one more kink to go. This little screwdriver isn't really a screwdriver, it's more of a pry bar and cleaning tool I keep around. But you got a good grip, nice handle, small tip, and it's just perfect for putting in there and just twist. Once you get a grip on it, just twist it and it pops right out. Like I said, we'll clean this up. It'll look nicer, but it doesn't have to look nice, and it never will look like factory again. Deal with it. Okay. This should have just fell out, but it's not. So that tells me that the coil is holding it in. The coil's soldered here. See a little wire there. And there's another one over here. Okay. So we got to unsolder those, and this should pop out. Let's do that. So got one loose. Come on. No, you want to. I think the housing is holding it a little bit. Yeah, housing's holding it a little bit. This one's loose, so it's popping out. I'll get this one cleaned up right there, I think, somewhere, holding it, and desolder that. That'll fix it. Okay, it's coming out. Got that one loose. Get this one loose. Taking an awful lot of heat. There we go. There we go. There's your copper contacts. There's your copper contacts in there. So, before you take it apart, don't forget to mark it. I forgot to tell you. But you want to mark it. Put a little scratch. That way you get it back the same way. But now you can clean these copper contacts. Now see, when the coil pulls in, the plunger comes out and then the copper makes contact, and that's what runs your starter. So we'll clean them all up. Clean them up, put it back together. It'll work fine. You watch and see. Don't forget to make sure your holes are clear. So that when you go to put this back together, your wires will poke up through and then you can solder them again. You always got to over-engineer stuff, don't they? Well, so be it. You just got to outsmart them, that's all. That'll work. I'll clean that off, straighten that up. But I got to do a little cleaning here. Wish I had some silver compound. I could put some silver on that. But I don't know where it's at. Okay, try to give you a close-up of those contacts down in there. That's the bolt that goes all the way through. And there's a contact in there. You can see that it's got ridges on it to help it make contact to stay clean. Of course, it didn't work perfectly, did it? I know it's not perfect focus, but you get the idea. So the way that's designed, it fits down in this slot so that it can't spin and goes down there and makes contact. So now we got to get in there with a Dremel or hand files or sandpaper or something and clean up all that gunk. You can see that this one got pretty warm. So we'll clean that all up, get it all nice and shiny. It'll last another 20 years. Okay, I'm going to try Dremel down in there. See how that works. I got this long bristled straight brush. Trick is, you don't want to lose the angle. This is at an angle. It was designed supposedly so that that angle matches this angle on this copper. So you just don't want to go in there and grind it all out. You you'll never get it to make contact correctly. So you don't want to just bust in there and tear it all up. Some sandpaper or something like that, yeah, fine. But you want to do it lightly. I'm going to try this and try to get down in there, get that shine. Let's see what we can do. Nice low speed. Oh, that was it. Boy, that's the answer, I tell you. That's it. You can see it shine from there, I'll bet. Look at that. Just a few seconds. And clean it up real good. Get all that black stuff out of there. Not too bad. Yeah, I wish I had some silver plating powder. I used to have some. Cool lamp. Okay, that'll work. We'll do that. Take our rubber boot out. Oh yeah. Okay, I'll get back to you. That looks like it'll work. Okay, putting this all back together is not a big deal. Remember, we put a scratch mark and a scratch mark. Okay. Want to make sure your rubber goes back in, your rubber seal. This should be aligned, because that'll spin in this. You want to make sure that we go into the holes for the wire, with the wire. Double check again our 2 marks. A little wiggling, open angling. There we go. Okay, work it down. See the wire sticking up there? There you go. So make sure that it protrudes. Everything sits down flat. We double check our alignment marks, registration marks, whatever you want to call them. This one got a little bit broke, but it's okay. It's still up enough I can get a good solder joint. It's just for pulling the coil in, so it's not super high amperage like these. Okay, once we got that all together, all we got to do is tap this, crimp this, and put it back to like new. Which it'll never be. But now remember, this isn't to restore to factory, you know, brand new, but we're trying to get something out of nothing. You can't find one, don't have one, you need to get this thing going today, and this is how we're doing this. Of course, we're saving a ton of money by doing this ourselves too, because these things are not cheap. So, alright, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to pound those back in, tap them in, and probably use some kind of extension to go around and tap nice and neatly. Take your time, don't force it. You don't want to crack the Bakelite. Okay, so we'll just put that all back together, and then As I was looking, found another problem. We got a crack, and the threads are stripped out. So looks like I got me a little bit of welding to do. I'm going to take this off so I don't overheat the coils, clean it, and weld that up. I don't want it falling apart out in the field somewhere for the guy, you know what I mean? So we're going to clean it and weld it up. I'll take you along for the ride if I can. Alright, you can see how easy this is to crimp back over. It's not hard at all. I'm going to try to do this around the camera. Nice little taps. Goes right back in place. Just finished that the whole way around here. We have that part done. I'll make it look a little nicer, but it doesn't have to be nice. It doesn't have to be 100% watertight seal. It doesn't have to be anything but tight enough to hold this piece from flying back out or being loose. You want it tight. Okay, so that's what this crimp will do. Just seat that down on that rubber seal a little bit, keep the dust out, and that's all you got to do. Pretty simple. You can handle it. Okay, I'm done. It's crimped down. Yes, you could tell it was used. It was opened because there's extra marks and crinkles, little scrape marks. But like I said, you're not trying to make it factory. You're just supposed to put it back together so that you can use it. Okay. Just crimp it back down. Now I'm going to solder that wire back in and make sure that the coil works. And we're done with this part then. Okay, quick and easy test. Let's do that. It works. Okay, so far pretty easy. Just a couple bolts holding this in. No problem. Your little yoke slides right out. But big deal here, what I brought you along is we got a rubber seal in there. I'm going to have to take that out because right here I need a lot of heat. And that's right beside that rubber. I wouldn't care too much except for the heat. I gotta do it. So before I even clean this up, I'm gonna have to do that. You know, I was thinking maybe after I weld this up, I'll put a helicoil in there, put it back to the correct metric threads that are on the other side. So whoever changed this really did a job on it, huh? It's cracked down there, it's cracked here, so this is ready to fall right off. We'll fix it. You watch and see. Okay, here's the starter. I'm trying to get a picture of the crimp so that you know that that's the same one I worked on. Okay, it's not a different one. Here you can see the little marks in it, I think. Lovely camera. Anyway, this is it. I had to weld that. I put a different bolt in it because I had to oversize it and put it in there, but at least it's still metric like the rest. And let's see if it runs. Oh, did I mention loud noise? Anyway, it works. I need a muffler. Gotta make one or do something. Alright, gotta go. Spy planes are coming. By the way, that's what we call a bad air filter. Okay? Just in case anybody wasn't sure, that is no good. No bueno. Oh well, it happens.